Eye Ora Kwesi Kwating, legal practitioner, and I feel so Oye campaign spokesman person for the Ken Japan team. La Biabo Cordia.
Good morning.
Morning. Already I do now so.
Already made in
nice.
My tenancy, my minchia, I shall phone it to you for you. Yeah. Remember Biachi. Na Sebio still a year.
Yes.
I just said, we hear what you have, and it was screen as well. Who said, Mantia Sebio no or more embark on official duties, on more sure more crown. I think say to live it with us for the rest of our lives. But a book as some run see Muslim, before I can use the ama Abushani na Yako near movie associating Ghana men. I just hope say it will be a turning care for all of us. Opening and workers on the him dear. And one more car be a idea, I've been a betche. Now, at the end of the day, you know, the empathy for you will be who and I'm sure say the bit for. But me broadly, no. I want to expand the conversation even to the broader conversation on accident in general.
Okay.
Emergency responses.
Okay.
Yeah, the car accident was a vehicle needs to be a car na open. But as of mine, no, even accident to crash fear, if you see be the gas a journey, maybe a jatoa, a crime so near fast how do you respond to it? It's a conversation that we need to have it. There as a country, you share damn fire ninya day, and who be brave. We and no crowd to free while about road. Would they were far from the Google and AI, Nebus and the set 50, would the animate tap bra or mind the Nya Fourth Republic. 15 and time in independence was a Fourth Republic in 92 years. But there's a fantasy 92 till now, Busa, even AI, and I say Busa Google crass or mount the number of deaths on our roads alone. Obekacho say reported deaths on road crashes. There's your unreported, and that reported could even be more than the reported, or a bit in Kwana the IAP. Osho Obekacho say 92 about BCB 2005. They said any proper online records to be a Nemo heck the Oho Siana no your projection. Also say a minimum between 60,000 to 90,000 deaths. So, ebia sebi kafach ebia no ankoye mpanimfo atitru ewumunti maybe we didn't get the needed attention but there's a kanka moja de ehwegu so ana wonim nipa no de obaya de amoman na no de ACA me yonko ba kwa me frɛ o se dwaso de yeso mo konhia mu no mo du kwan ho ba bi no mo so mu age na nkora wo ma yom ho yi ana Fofi Antoata tanka na de kwahwima ye yanti ASEM papa nkora be 15 or 16 only na ye de ehwe omonkwa. I'm sure it should have also been part of the learning curve and case a man needed attention a case the but benefo ma hwe omonkwa a hadwen but them say addition woman say as a country no when it comes to the emergency responses, when it comes to how a nipe would through accident in general, whether road, whether because Diana over in history be a woman about quiet day have a film. And for me is a conversation. Okay, Kumasi to Accra road ya. Bra made them fast with the beer. Okay, Cape Coast Accra Cape Coast road. No can say oh Koba, your chances of survival is about 60% or even less. Say come no crap patch and one or the other. So fuck Kumasi so Koba a biana. There is some slight chance be say an accident. Media to me there is some slight chance be say could be overtaking wrong driving be a quantity be baby or engineering works be what will be or dodgy be me say at all be the how will you live in your own country? Your own country. Let's say be prepare idea and now for and no your chances of survival is even minus. Because we be a bit we can't live in a country like that. And yet and comma yet because you're normalizing no. I am me ajatum so cardia a quincy day eba enti ni nipa kura wu asebi o nyame na de ma nyame ana ye eje o nipa de asebi o wu de ka nipa ho ya wo nko ade otimi de ewu and ne ka we nyina de ahye etima and we don't take any action. So nti me nkoma dachi bi no platforms like this equity no and the other media platforms on any pennyful can be no is a conversation they need to bring on board. I remember recently me di honi say no recently na me can asema about washrooms na me tro be say musuma contract ya me tro ba ko ten say mentiase say public washrooms here too mentiase because who say when it comes to sanitation and any pass over your who ya etimi two baby etimi si baby I didn't think I'm in circle ha the nearest public institution and now saving private institution so say si company ye tria for maintenance mintimi nkotwa once year na two si da mintimi ko hem hui na just say me so say bi o say jonso me blood musa ediko me fear sprinters amete on public health on even sanitation on everything but anya dia we have been bold to talk about it so but me can maybe me nam London na me pese me yem huyi na me wura mu e ho no me swipe ka obi anti ho obe swipe card no o swipe na ma access no ayede wawurum eno kura ma enhu me mistake or swipe twice ho na ko buza no ya to state na nyeska okoka mu so ha de ye ni maintenance culture we are say be any who say be obi maintenance culture what we have a maintenance budget and maintenance personnel ade ba ko amisun fi mi am papa Dr. Dutchun also no we are say be any who your maintenance culture there is not nowhere in the world your maintenance culture because when you leave people so more for my junior the but you need to have a way of say no kwamudi generate sika say nka ye won say obi a kesme hakra na o twemo no atimi ebe ye ne hu yie wa ha say one city na two cities a watwia ho nipa wo hwe ho no de sesi ho ohun kebe promote but these are conversations we don't have and the basic necessities of life the basic decisions of life also as a country no also adwene de echo and it is along that line me koka accident no ho asem nyina ye de eka but say bi onya sie wi nti ye nyina ye nchechire re ne nhye ho de
I mean it's scary wo ka road accident no ho asem and I mean in the space of just about 6 months your friend is saying o check even reporter road traffic for regulation for no idea bar I mean it's too huge you have almost about 12,000 and something cars in accidents yes I mean you have fatalities almost about 1,054 or 504 you have accident
in 6 months
in 6 months I mean accident in Queens is almost about 7,000 and beyond some figures
how
I mean,
do we get
just 6 months January down to June July yo
and this if you are being very bold so road accidents ekuni passing here road accidents ekuni pa crash and poverty ekuni passing cholera ekuni passing covid-19 ni pass ni puye o hwa o kenkan bie pa o say o hwa average ne kra na every year bia no between 2,000 to 3,000 deaths the reported ones for our reported no kra kan one project you are looking at about 3,000 deaths how did we get here
very scary
and now when the sad part and they say socio-economic implications say papa na ono hwe nkwara ofie no o tena wo free ma ye na yi wiase no beko ni akoto na twe ni nyina be fie
adwada memenda obi a fie
na unim o se ehia de bia o na me ofa ni ho mo fa na hwe me no okuwie me ofa free mu papa free mu me ma me so okokwan so aba okoye gikwan so okofa adwene ne se ka ne butuye ana wanti ma hwe me bio eno ano no na nipa the whole long chain life say any system bi hakra so a your proper insurance policy bi sasemesi na obenti free ma and for me I'm a fan of course I mean I support Kennedy Japan I'm a spokesperson but I want to say Kebeko 2028 for 2028 elections conversations like this also come on board not only galamsey but maybe to say road safety it should be on the table because nipa wu na ye dey ewu yenka ho asem for plans and say open Kennedy Japan kwa be so na be fa so address road safety so and this is one among the neighbor a kwa be so na be fa so address road safety on sanitation you will normal be brewa just on the basis of enforcement alone kebitimi kwa ye dey abrace kan by ho asem
nice
Anyway.
Yane aye ura kwesikwati na edi enkomo no aye spokesperson Emma aye Kenya Japan campaign ni no edi enkomo no but yamna aye Kenya so campaign and what is really happening. First of tell us how is Ken doing? Campaign to say
ma memfa ofidi so nka ura Ken otu kwan kakra.
Okay.
We say aye ba ye nyina nipa esu ni mpanimfo kwachechia Ira Mahama so no ne mfanse pani kesi a wote ayi epono so to no obia kwa na yakochia na wodi anim na ya chia busua nyina emse kentimi mebe watu kwan kakra.
Okay.
Me susu se enekosi wo chande na nyankopod na yedai abedru na ono so abechia.
Okay.
Enti ne ho ye oti asem ne ha ne pa ende sebi se nya ono nko a nipa bia wo ye nipa kan bia no e wo se ade we ade yese yede wo yam yede ehyewo. But aside that, no party no cry and say until Zeke o said Ozika ke be wi akotia by election campaign sem no Kenya day entren so kakra nanka etimi wi akotia na fe nyina aka ho ayede abo because also ye de ehu hia ana no kre sebio wa ho den te say ya say we fa party no so we anti party na sem na akoye campaign na wo chena wo na to abakra ma na party na medi wachi a ahoden no NCP ema de obesa wo yo no untimi nya dai enyo nti na ye de di super na akwati ahonkoma na ye de ye dia odi tu kwan se oda no ho kakra ye dai aba so no business man it be go tu kwan obehwe busia obefa ha kwakohwe we kwakopeko for wo boa enyuma ne ade aba de nekosi o cha de enya me na but I mean aside that say ni nipa kasa phone so bia ba community bi sani obi wise wakoyi ase wakosia party for mutimi kasa wonchia wo obachia wo party for so ba ofie so obachia wa ene esebio ehede ya obeka so ni wada roma bia wo yira wo fufu kura entwa bi nya dai emo mo se milo bi nso anopa ye de kakra gu nso ma ye de amo mo kakra so se ho aseka ho bi ne ya ajefa ka ni na ka ho bi so kakra
but in a mix of this whole issue of accident, the nation is mourning and all that, in your article you made a certain line within your article creating the impression that in as much as your friend is saying mourning is going on and all that with regards to Dr. Bawumia even attending and even going to visit the president and the team and all that, there are people within Bawumia's camp, almost social baby in Ashanti region thereabout. They also campaigning when indeed the NEC had said that after Akutiano will have to come back and do proper or full campaign, as you call it. But people are down there. Your friend is saying campaign is specific with the Bawumia camp. How true is that?
Openi we am kwaro e kan buku bi pani bi sabe or throw for the then Russia regime no ma bi na ekoso now here so na the same approach of governance no na ekoso Ghana Nkrumah regime Nkrumah kwa brepa de kanene nkura kan book no secondary school na leche ono kwa dem so ban na ni ade nyina buku ni atweche animal farm openi o throw ye no e friend George Orwell o throw kata ni ye pa na George Orwell wo kan animal farm na the summary of it is say emo nyina no mo so mo pefa hodie o mo so mo kan nyina say wo mo e boss no ye nipa no o tete wo mo ndu me fa so mo nyina esia ye ku no mo so ye hwe ni anya fa hodie na fei ye nyina no obi atime di no ho obi atimi ekọ na afom obi ekọ ebura no akọwe bi nkatia no akọwe bi asem bi anya de eni ho na no mu nim say animal farm no kingdom no mo tie no na openi na no wo ho no the farm owner na todua kutwa grass ne ade nyina de ebro no mo ye somebody omo di omo ho ese mo nyina fe omo declare independence freedom ebi ni Ghana dey freedom openi na on dem story ne omo wie no mo ye so mo se semra no mo se hwe sa bra ne ni party no na ni pa ye no ho so wo soro ye de esen ye nti aso mo kan say omo mra na so mo say first law mo de ban say all animals are equal afei no kɔ nanim no wɔn ko hwɛ ya na afei ye kɔ pepa baabi kakra ka ho wɔn say all animals are equal but some are more equal than others wɔn say baby adu no afei mu on post abam we so na ye president we so na ye vice we so na ye director which one a general manager, which one a HR head, and the one fan of swat. Dining hall granting me when you're Eddie. It is the same thing that I felt was playing out here. Asemra party neck the directive I had ABA. One must say, hey, yentimi enko ye campaign, ye suspend the campaign. Be our aspirant when it's ready who be our support or some party no. Party needs say the Kibu council also ye the would so. So acquire Semrano in terms of enforcing Emrano. I say Ibinu Waha. And apply because they are more equal than others based on Jojo was some or can or animal farm. Let's say video more so pa. And let me be some say, hey, can you upon pan or Kobusa? I'm raised the man testy from here campaign or former. Say we a open secret videos so me are more for my own to me.
I was just about to ask you. Or
your campaign or Ashanti Jama Dr. Baumia, Honorable Chairman Sabon, so a campaign, Ashanti Jama. And not only him, he's moving with the team. Me am more for Kufijuma, Maxwell. So your campaign or the team no move. Handy and no a one and man no more than any son. It's directive, but Sebio, I don't have the enforcement powers. I know I leave it to one more who to me, the National Executive Committee, no make it that decision. But almost so she or who they are. Then at the end of the day, we'll leave it to the jury out there. Say Ghana for her, so be I there. But then you have a hammer. Then a hammer can see a pa minia. Say so. Say to me now, open and open your costume nipa and desire. Now to me, no one nipa na costume muniwa. If I na costume to me, o costume. Now any o costume nipa so there. Say nipa ewo amanim. Nipa wo yonimu. So nipa wo yaudima. You also have to be sensitive and read the mood of the nation and act accordingly. And that's
yes.
Now unya 2 minutes we no chana nipa wo Ghana nyina ma no sesumina so. Yesi Yesu aba no bi efrima o nyame de obi akwa. And then na be. Everyone akodi so. And so I felt they should have been sensitive to the mood of the nation. So mining nyina esi apene. O mining nyina treasure adwo. O mining nyina wo yamu. Penifo yi we omuko wuye nya kwampa so na ekwan de yakran say they say bia no more private business. They died in the line of duty and they were not NDC ministers, they were ministers of state. Who say o cross election anywhere after you become a state asset meboa. So I felt say nka they should have been a bit sensitive to them because especially when even Dr. Baumia himself ono penina nkasa odi animo no say munyina na no yehunu so ole ref ne one Joyce Bawa no mo kasa ne John Mama mo kasa okochia mu ndi penina akra ene oman ni nyina ye dey is charge ajo ye nyina we are all morning na be hu say ne mpeni nkofo bi and if it was sebia kwasi kwati bi kra na wo form no ye campaign akameti ase say kwasi kwati be ka sebia ono youthful exuberance e bia mantesem kakra ye dey e won no so but nipa mbobo these are high profile people one more ya de bi na bia meme ya de kwa na nya chemensa betima kasa ekosi ade we de achia meboa opani ma so ekofu dwuma so ekosi ade we de o ye wa anye ni entesa chama untu wo se me na me ye chairman of a region nti we de achia party directives sisi but omo no omo nti ase bo hunu se emfunso bi hanya de eni ho na omo ekoya na omo ye campaign a ho nsem bibre ba ya no mo ko ekoga se Dr. Baumia 41.6 dada nti sadia yamane enkono here less than 10% ma me trosa kata I'm sure say be kum
yes e ba be kum
but even enokwa no sa asem no person me kan of videos say it's not tenable ya to abawi na ka say obi 41.6 dada per that extension of that logic it presupposes that the NDC should also have 50 of obi 41 dada it presupposes that NDC should have 56 and also 56%. Then what is the essence of going for the election even in the first place? You are 12 vote to include it can only be a basis for judging performance, but it can be a basis to say a vote or you could go and you could even get more than 41% in the subsequent election. It can actually also reduce maybe and this the even go campaign say you to abawi no na no ba ko 41% intino all you need no on all kind of percentage terms so here but say e bia near 10% here 10 there. Even if you want to look at the percentage term, we lost with about in the nominal values, with close to 1.7 million votes. Okay. With about 2.1 million. But
my main clear winning we enough in establishment in the world. Who do you want to fault? One up say bonus to bosses here. A case where the leader is doing, a national thing. Na neck, which is supposed to be taken care of, and you maybe say no. Why won't you then address this issue? issue with NEC, but you want to politically, I mean, quote, I should say, to really draw Dr. Bawumia into this fray. Why won't you say it's a neck in they should establish the fact that the was your campaign, it is not fair. I mean, to the whole campaign structure, and whether your good self, Bawumia Nemu, and Brian or Makena, but rather you tend to see Bawumia being put into this fray.
No, I don't think it really has to do with him per se. But at the end of the day, he's the ultimate beneficiary. Oh, yeah, sure, say. Mpenifo ya yebobo mudi so mo campaign anko mudi kudi di ahemfo bi atam Ashanti region I be affect na come from.
Why won't you blame NEC? I don't blame NEC.
No,
I don't know for NEC. Dr. Bawumia.
No, me case about me say at the end of the day he's the ultimate beneficiary. Oh yeah, sure say some mpenifo ya mbobo mudi and then so mo me say nyina afaka edi group akosia akogina mensia no mudi di mpenifo e wo hatema ana yede Dr. Bawumia abata mu in Dr. Bawumia's name. We are sure say ka on from kan jom say mpenifo mensia de e ho sem de yemfendi agro anti hwe no man kwanko ye dwebia na sa homa so bia ho bibia ni awmen kan boko won fetire kwanko pacho. So at the end of the day, when you become the consequential beneficiary of an action or inaction of some people, especially when they are fronting your campaigner, you cannot purge yourself from it. That will be running away from responsibility. Ultimately, you have to take responsibility for it.
Yeah, but ultimately, the party has to take responsibility.
Me kasem bi enye. No reckon the Japan ehu ana wote na wan kire me se kwesi kasa we die enye kasa me pa. Oh, yes, also one endorse them here. It means it presupposes that he endorses what I did. Again, there is also the party sitting there, me a member of the party, which ordinarily, by virtue say me a member of the party, no, also has a responsibility on the party near the NCC. I don't want to go there. That's why I leave it to the jury out there. So said the woman there, say, and there's someone who say, and she say, we leave it to them. So say woman the directive in the buy. According to the woman who say, obi e muswa. Fair deal. But you see, the dangerous precedent that the sex is that at the end of the day, one here, or China, can Japan end the camp to us, hey, Niango for what is former, you're here to be an unfair and undue advantage against us. In tears, you're day, intensive form. Engineer Kobe Japan says, na say now the chairman suppose mu kwa yi bi gra no obi ya nka won asem o mebo a who's on what test form me am former boss Dr. Zeduchum was na mo di akwati ehunu na yi na akwati akwa say it ba ko bo nteza na no de ngbofo so nkofo egufo mo so ye campaign 4 months 5 months to election and yes ade ameso kra meja me nkofo ayede agum obi an kwa campaign na obi a ja ne nkofo gum so obi an kwa campaign wan na akwati adwuma no. That is, for me, the fundamental problem. It's not really about a blame game, but the principle, the underlying principle of the point that I'm raising is that it doesn't give a good picture. It doesn't send a good. It doesn't give a good precedent, and most importantly, it presents an outlook that shows us that we have a weak leadership, which may not necessarily be so. Because the party benefaka semba now chena wobu so let us say okra no umfo ehun bia nya dey emo abo no so de hun na we ne hu
and a party so kan he leadership so kan
as at now they so can be akwa amaka bi akwa ate
so then they become weak.
No, that is the impression by that conduct will show out there. Say na say the party benefit for so mo kasa mo money so and I'm not sure say these 3 high profile individuals are the people who want to send that impression. E bia omo enti asie mo no bia omo de no mo enim penifo na edim komo keke but nipa bebre omo so wo hwe no omo so any impression ya mpenifo yi send there e just party no kra no mpenifo no say omo kasa ma ebi nya de eni so, which for me does not augur well for the growth of our party.
Okay.
But minimum dream and about entia a campaign. But at the end of the day, it happened.
How did you see it as a campaign? Who they say omo then I would say so omo ko an instruction omo ko say and omo ko say enko to aba mobi then omo kan ya would say a campaign.
Oh, now campaign what as a campaign I say to aba mobi answer.
Oh, send ye check buntine bia when who say e want to me nam ha ona masi ha be
din. I think say in Ashanti region I mean most of the videos that we are seeing and the reports that we are getting in omo kasa who say omo message omo de nam say yema Ira Dr. Baumia a second chance. No more ahode pa mu de gyan say a second chance and kwa no hwa opani President Kufuor onya kwanya amema no compre no. President Kufuor akwa de ma na kwanya ma ne de e compressor. No kra so aka say Dr. Baumia kwa de 41.6% dada.
Yes.
To here kakra bi na de aka ho. Na the closest contender which is the Japan kwa de 0%. Nti any crash or more they consider no. And then same be as you and it may not be good for radio. But I want to say no to me the APM. But I mean I don't want to repeat them because they may appear divisive. M1 party near the and cancro. Sebu say me or can you and I'm sure say you see and two go free a day to major. But for instance, one more history about say Dr. Baumia 41%, 41.6%. It's not accurate. It's a misleading narrative. You're trying to 41.6%. I go here. Easy one. Did you next election? You be kind for 41.6. You be kind for 41.6. Yeah. And then this is what Harold already has 56. And the end kind free. And there is no point we should even be contesting for the election because somebody already has 56%. It's a idea as a sebi wish young for who so much more ha. And I can say so bu nipa pa na hu say nipa oka asemache no nipa ne ya nipa na adwemu da ho kan wo ye badwen ba asem we wonka che no u bu nipa na say nipa no the person can reason out of the issues wonka say asem nje so we were 41% obi aka bia we 0 we asem we o me kai mu oduma emunyedu what you say now the most substantive issue has to do with the second chance argument no mo ye no correct Penny a friend President Kufuor nya second chance echo minimpre no so Penny Kufuor adokrade onya even the third chance and sakwa no yede o wini. Now you see when you are giving a historical account of events SEC or party one, you also have to situate it in a very true context. What is the true context? The true context is say in MPP we've had 4 flag bearers. You need be in film and fabisu nyade enhyem to me I say a analysis of data no so afa ba bia be dey ebebo no so macroeconomic figures indicators in you say when the fundamentals are weak the exchange rate will expose you no, but you other micros and the variables be so faka ho ka sem no kan ka nyade enkoye basa kibia ka enkoye when the fundamentals are there can be something different. But this is the point in MPP say the music enya flag bearers mi you know party na yom openia odi kan pa Professor Dubois 1992 so okay
yes
na edi kan to abama no openia otoso so President Kufuor Professor Dubois de ma ne ko ba akope President Kufuor ye ma ne ko ni mpre no ye de eso President Kufuor de kwa de ni mpre sa so asa na obede obewini na nim na Dr. Baumia so ye de e bai na nim share the history of MPP sankofo we nyina no se ebe mu akwa na ye ma unko bi is contingent on ade ba akopɛ performance ti asɛm you say mpanifo kra kana kanka sɛm sɛ amfo na ye dai e kyerɛ ne nto aso meboa amfo na kyerɛ ne nto aso na wa mo homo de ye de ne nipa timi epia na mpanifo so aka sɛ de ofu duapa na ye dai epia no. And you would have some historical account to be with relation to the figures of Omunyai. Openia, your friend Professor Dubois, one on the first time, or no a general election, no general election. Naka no 92, but 92 no pre 92 neo military era. Yeah, who say 92 no, and I did the PNDC 1 PNDC 2 and a free. And then we're transitioning from the military era into what we call the Republican, and therefore Republican here by I give you birth to the 1992 Constitution. We had the foreign powers, another thing putting so much pressure on Mr. Rowland and say on going into democratic dispensation. It's okay. So and tell you when you ask me can say one more call contest no Tiasem you. Despite sir coming from that suppressive and hostile environment na ewo ho no. Still, Professor Dubois or managed to secure about 1.2 million votes and represented 30.29%. Percentage in 30.29%. Now, unim sabreno say a 2 abakra na and no we use opaque ballot boxes. Now, he said only military leader or no na transition or minor in the friends democracy. No na coalition. Now, one no 2 million or 1 in who go for quite dim trouble. na makoto aba na wanya 30.29 no President Wallace nya 58.4%. Gab no 1.1 million. How here me pa the difference no 1.1 million then. Because in the history of our fourth republic, the worst difference that we've ever had was the last 2024 elections. Catch us say I'm for a bed that was in 92. 96, Professor Dubois has aqua. Or no find a party by you. No, so 96 was Abe Kubu. No, or yes, walk. Yes, walk on it, President Kofokoi. Na party for the despite circumstances and the war pre-military era, transitioning aba democracy mu to aba na transparency ni 30.9 na wo 30.2 na wunya no. Koyo almost said there be a man and twaso. And to call 96 general election, party now Professor Dubois here and Kubu. He lost the primaries to President Kofo. The President Kofo then won 96 primaries. No, the party no call and President Kofo, the President Rollins here they call the next election in 96. Na sabre na party no more organized kakra. President Kofo nya 2.83 million votes and represented 39.67%. Into usha President Kofo move Professor Dubois 30.29% and of course 39.67%. But what oh baby mediation and now President Rollins win 4 million votes around 57.37%. Gabo no who hear me pa difference of the votes no so na 1.2 million votes. And you hear difference and that Professor Dubois Henry Rollins mu 1.1 President Kofo the 1.2 but don't hear the nominal figures in the petrol here now in terms of percentage and President Kofo they are free 30% 39%. May tell trajectory no matter the trend may your trend analysis in MPP no ubia about or appreciate it from the predecessor baby or day of a free nti wa antimi anya now the performer when a party for be who say o modern ba day anko so nti one mo nya day and 12 just like Professor Dubois here now Marie 96 the next time you start the flabber call first for the first time after Kofo free office no the year 2008 okay
yeah
the year 2008 was President Akufo-Addo by no wouldn't say one President Akufo-Addo quite another highest office had not occupied in his history as a young man who wanted to lead the country. The highest office was a Minister of State. It was a shuffle between Attorney General and the Foreign Affairs.
Foreign
Affairs. President Akufo-Addo had 4.15 million votes. They represented 49.13%. And you know how for President Kofo first time or they equal 39 to 49 or the very plus 10% higher account. And these are facts and data that I'm reading to you. Into where President Akufo-Addo President Akufo-Addo there. The first time he is the only first person in the history of MPP. You did not co-election where we winning on this first round.
Is it not the fact that around that time situations changing? I mean, you're looking at Ora Akufo around that time. You had Rawlings who has done the 2 terms, right? So politically, I mean, the state in itself tells you that OBID 8 years is enough for a certain particular party to knock off. And it is Ora Kofo to me winning appreciating for the very first time. Are you not looking at Akufo-Addo? Are you not appreciating that fact? Sadie Nintina Manabasa.
Okay, Minya. Wasma kano asema do. There are factors prevalent. No ma and until affected some way or somehow it would have influenced the outcome of the elections.
Exactly.
Then
yes.
But just a mental picture of 2008 when President Akufo-Addo contested. In 2008, we had something that we call global economic recession. So
yes,
global economic recession. America pan hit your market pa. And America hit America and all developing economies, including economies from Africa and third world countries like us. The impact was that very worse. 2008 and the Bush free officer actually Obama a buyer. Just giving a picture. And you 2008 Kofo cry kono. When Ghana Kofo describe Kofo as the worst leader they've ever had. People describe him as even a tei. So on the Obese Ghana Ghana Sika. I'm just giving you say 2008 was one of the worst years. The whole world was globally challenged. Be a friend of the global economic recession. 2008. Into the world economy in 2008 was that very bad. But you see, then again, President Akufo-Addo's popularity then was still able to take the party, you know, to an election. Not only did we win for the first time, but he was also able to take us for the first round. He was also able to take us to the runoff. Again, I'm not even making a case about who won the general election per se, but now we are comparing the figures. What I say, and how wide the figures are. Now we are comparing, say, the trajectory, you know, we be free here or the core here. We are not saying, say, oh, President Dr. Bawumia shouldn't lose election. Election in the history of MPP crowd will be a dinakobia, with the exception of President Akufo-Addo losing the first round or winning the first round. Will be a lose the first round.
Yes,
that is not the argument that we are making. But Olusu would say, does it give us hope? Does it inspire us?
But then again, losing with that huge numbers now is also not the fact that around that same time, you know, the conditions around that time also did not favor that candidate in our kind of Dr. Bawumia and favor no. Oh, that around that time, the same thing. I mean, the way issues. I mean, you raised.
It's a very valid question. The point I'm making is that Ababia is a son.
Yes,
there are conditions precedent and conditions contingent on which the public based on it and I know there are no two ways about that.
Okay,
it affects both MPP and NDC.
Okay,
it affected Kofo, it affected Akufo-Addo, it affected Dr. Bawumia.
Sure,
and the same conditions will affect President Mahama.
Sure, it
will still affect Professor any other person, Professor Mills.
Yes.
So those conditions are constant.
Okay,
why? Because our problems as a country are the same. Economy, poor roads, health, infrastructure, education.
Yes.
These are conditions that are always there.
Good.
These are conditions that are trouble. Every 4 years, these are conditions that are trouble. You cannot suggest to me, say, in the case of Dr. Bawumia, his conditions were so peculiar and so unique and so different. And that's what I'm giving until I'm medical for 2008. You know? Well, if the argument is that the economy had broken down, I am suggesting to you that in 2008, the economy was also worse. Yes, so President Akufo-Addo's popularity was able to push the party, you know, into an election. We even won for the first time. To the extent say you could lose the second round, you know, at what time? Okay.
Yes.
Time with about just 40,000 votes.
Yes.
Even in the case of Akufo-Addo, the first time he won with over 100,000 votes. Professor Moss. And they called time. He said, yeah, no, well, yeah, now 49.13, and a Professor Mills is 47.92%. Oh no, Obi and Timmy 50% mark and yeah, and it's a core time. The time Professor Mills Moya de Equa Daneno, Emma President Akufo-Addo de Lucy. In that case, and how do you look into President Akufo-Addo's face and tell President Akufo-Addo say, oh, first round we need now even the second round Lucy and you lost with just like around 23,000 votes in Tiempamo. And no son party from the cancer no. Papa no more than boy, you know. I'm for the challenge trust on Tianya de and Tomaso. Mama San Akufo-Addo the second time. I do President Akufo-Addo 3 times scoring. On the second time, or election, no call Supreme Court. Supreme Court no crown court no judges 9 court no ASEM no. E move 4 and then they are open in election we win. Ti asem ni you. Judges 9 Supreme Court. Sabrina no moka Professor Tubiga JJC adinyira ho when he okay. Chachuji kata no ne Philip Addison no. And the many people require need so almost be law. Oh
yes, mekaipa.
And tis nipa sa na wo de na kwa even court no 4 of the judges even agrees with him. Say no, you've won the election, we should go for a rerun no. How do you say so? Again, he's demonstrated and proven with a remarkable track record. Say, "Ampa, what the next bit my day, aye." And then never tell time where they obey winning. But now I'm comparing that to Professor Dubois. In the case of Professor Dubois, 30.1 or the year, 30.2. Let me confirm. I think 30.2909. Remember the difference was 1.2 million votes. At that time, the party people felt it was so wide. Now compare that to President Akufo-Addo. President Akufo-Addo, no. The first difference and when I say 23,000 thereabouts. So how will you say now compare to 2008. Yama fast to 2024. In 2024, Tiasem no. Your co-elections no in 4.65 million votes, representing 41.61%. And President Mahama Sunya 6.32 million votes, representing 56.55%.
4.65 million representing what?
4.65 million representing 41.61%. 41.6.
Okay.
And President Mahama 6.32 million votes, representing 56.55%.
Is the 4.6 million, not more than the first attempt of Urakufo?
So that will be let me borrow Dr. Bawumia. So that will be a WAP logic, because you also have to look at the number of votes involved, right? The baseline. What is the baseline? If you take the percentage alone, you'll be wrong, because if we are to go by extension of that logic, then why did you also lose with 1.7 million here? So it's not about the percentages. We are looking at a trend where you compare a predecessor to a predecessor, and that is a trend. President Kufuor from Professor Dubois from 30, President Kufuor to 39, to President Akufo-Addo to 49. Now, when you pick from 49, the trajectory is on an ascending trend. You don't then bring it from 49 to 41. What even makes it more crucial? Even President Akufo-Addo second term. If you want to compare to President Akufo-Addo second term, when you compare to Dr. Bawumia votes, it's about 10%.
But can you still compare the 4.65 million now with Bawumia to be more closer to Akufo-Addo's own, Akufo-Addo's first round?
Akufo-Addo's first round. Let me tell you, Akufo-Addo's first round, no. He won with 100,000 votes difference. In Dr. Bawumia's first round, he lost with 1.7 million votes difference. That's the picture. Akufo-Addo's second round, right? So what even brought him into office? The 2020 Krana, and we are very close a bit compared to Dr. Bawumia Krana. And Akufo-Addo won. The votes difference should be about, let me get the figures right. But if you recall, the votes difference, so it's about 2.1 million votes compared to what Dr. Bawumia recently had. So the principle that I'm laying is this: the input that I'm making is that if you look at Professor Dubois here, the first time on my 30.29 in 1992, President Kufuor did 30.29 and 39.67 in 96. Including a show say 9.38 percentage point increase and a beca from Professor Dubois here the performance. Now Akufo-Addo ebe fa 49.13 in 2008. It also means that 9.46% point increase and what the beca President Kufuor here but we heard Dr. Bawumia there now. Onukwa recorded a decline from the predecessor of 7.52%.
Okay, so let's make this analysis. All these candidates are they've never been vice to a certain government or
that even makes it more crucial. Yes,
good. So all the people were main that you produce here, the party produced to stand. I mean, a competition. This is the first time I'm sure when a running mate, a vice president, wababidi as a leader of the party, wako elections, ABA. So why would you give such a person that second chance simply because or your vice to an existing a president who within his time, a lot of issues happened. Economic issues were there. I mean, but you had issues. I mean, social issues were there, economic issues were there, and all that. I mean, facing that reality. Then out of that, a vice president comes out as a presidential candidate for the party. This is the first time ever, maybe, I stand to be corrected, with that huge, figure you mentioned, the 1.7 or so that you say is that that's the difference. So I want you to then give that same chance to somebody who is an offshoot of a certain government that came out. Okay, the woman that second chance you need to, prove to all of you that Obitimi I standing the test of time.
Yeah. My reduce the whole argument and conversation on second chance simply for showing up. And yes, only the answer was Jima for so I win premise. After all, second.
Because issues are more dealing with the party for them to have this failure. Are you looking at it, the candidate in itself, and I say the conditions around or the circumstances around Niamane CC and Intinema, the fall of that huge number, and not the candidate?
Let me be very honest here. There are a lot of factors that will influence the outcome of an election. One, even the party, the normal affected party also counts, and even the candidate also counts. I mean, you cannot dismiss and say normal be a affected party now. I mean, certainly it won't affect the candidate and even the entire party.
Sure.
But one on, for instance, economy. But at the end of the day, who were the handlers of the economy? Can you dissociate Dr. Bawumia from the handlers of the economy? Every BBA a top part in the whether good or bad, everybody has to co-own it. How do you then separate the party from him when it comes to owing up responsibility and its consequential effect on going for election and its outcome? You can't do that. You can't decouple it, because it's not like, oh, not a 10-chain opportunity in you. It's not like say football and the airborne, not 10-chain.
Yeah.
And it be a reserve player. And a while memuna say, oh, when your mom ko boy no about troka into share there openino ye yentimi emfa nenka ho be a coach no maybe or moye na ye. But in this case, in this particular case, say not two players who are more assistant captain. How do you then say assistant captain cannot also be responsible for Bibi Ato party Nibia? So he can also purge himself.
Sure.
What I say?
Sure.
Yes.
But on your ultimate.
I mean, at the end of the day, and the
yes, on a president.
Before time, no. Akufo-Addo serve in government. Akufo-Addo mum etimi win the first round. Sabe Akufo time, there were no issues. What are we talking about? For time now, Akufo-Addo serve. You see, you made a very nice reference and a background about the fact that he was a vice president. The first time you had a vice president, does it even not? Should that even not be the main reason why his popularity was so higher? He should have even propelled us into victory.
It's also known that same time now the environment was also not good to propel him to be the avant-garde.
Okay, environment asema. President Mahama, the time, environment. I'm telling you that the factors apart Ghana for the General Toaban is always the same. Why? Because our problems are always the same. Indeed, whether or not we like it, when we talk about factors affecting a party or factors affect, and it will always affect us.
Okay.
But give you about Akufo-Addo, the picture then in 2008. Yes, so his popularity also. But you see, at the end of the day, you cannot suggest to me that candidate does not count. A candidate counts. You cannot suggest to me say candidate does not matter.
No, candidates matter.
Me tell you, say be a memo brebia be na ni pe hu me track for be na ye hu me say na me tie na me tie. Ni wo say be say ba men kasa mo jo. Gidie kura nkofo kura wo mo kura no. It counts.
Yes.
It counts.
No, I agree.
Yeah, omo team people make decisions based on religion. Awari ebe wari based on tribal decisions. Ahadi enkoha how we minya or my team of VIP buses e makuma 102 e mu ntina e bom pai o mansa ne akono. You think people doesn't are not influenced by matters of tribe, matters of religion, matters of credibility, how they see you, your outlook? Do they see you as bold? Do they see you as courageous? Do they see you say one kasa you are standing on your own, you can make firm decisions? So these are all factors that people it influences people in selecting a candidate.
And these are some of the factors that Omabo Boss say. For instance, your candidate is hot-headed. Sure, so what? Your candidate, Ken is very hot-headed, or you're divisive. He is a risk. I mean, for the party when they pick. I mean, I've heard all these things. I've heard some of these things.
Saturday me dan temper me da be 4 p.m. no be oni me bia no enim say aside politics and coming on TV or my work life. Yes, me I don't have a very very conservative. Me dan temper me need to be 2 a.m.
Okay.
Me need to na me tell computer and had to research and write this na me throw it. Nti me we 10 a.m. me we na me call gym. Sunday sorry.
Okay.
So I spent 8 hours on this.
Okay.
Then somebody uses 15 minutes. Go here they are trying to ChatGPT. That's the and he just ChatGPT. Oh, miracles there no. The ChatGPT response. This is a man wasting my time on him.
Oh, okay.
Secondly, I'm saying this so that we have a background that we should be modest. Sabra na minya Ken spokesperson. Or should be by a responder. Okay, James, so on capacity na responder because me spokesperson to his level. Timi do one my responder. You see the posture and no na affected Dr. Bawumia. the posturing even of his communicators. And then the aid and also there or not responded to us.
Do this one for me. One Kofi Ofosun cancer. I'm not sure whether you've seen the message. You know, saying I guess Kwesi Kwarteng will not attempt Asante Achim North primaries again. It's on Facebook. I say this is an analysis. Certified results for the Asante Achim North primaries as follows: incumbent Andy Kwame Apia Kubi 226 votes, representing 39.79%. Former MP Kojoba Ajima 103 votes, representing 18.13. Samuel Kwejo Frimpong was 160, and then Stephen Obeng Saka 67, and then Kwesi Kwarteng was 12 votes, representing 2.11%. So then the analysis on Johannes said that you shouldn't be coming back again because it is huge.
I expected this question. I have two answers to him, very succinct.
Yes.
The first one is that the candidate the northern part of the country where he's from. There are over 30 policies so contested election bill. That is one. Secondly, the whole Ghana, all polling stations are Zongo communities, and the candidate are not presenting, apart from Winnie Bazongo, he lost every Zongo community. So it's by for election. Also up a second chance. The candidate coming from the northern part of the country, still we lost there. Again, Tiasemi you. On one candidates are presenting out of 16 regions of Ghana, a move 15 regions we decline in votes. Only Northeast near appreciative votes about 20,000. As the neighbor. Now, me case is say Openi Kofi Ofosun cancer. At the time, not the whole establishment was supporting his candidate. Mimi Krum. I was the only Nipa na me yejuma by my support to Kennedy Japan. I thought about me winning. He wasn't expecting the establishment to push for me. They obviously push for Omunipa, and the only person I support to Kennedy Japan. I'm just a victim of a support of Kennedy Japan in that election. If they care to know, I'm just a victim. How they manipulatively coerce everybody to shape everybody in line. Oma Kennedy Japan winning. No uncofa Asante Achim North, Asante Achim Central from near Radio Subina. Oma Kennedy Japan winning. No uncofa Asante Achim Central near Radio Subina. You grow well. Yeah, Brett. Mama face second chances second chances no openi mama it's like 2028 as my year can so 2028 is not about maybe 2028 is not about second chances.
Okay,
2028 is about courage. 2028 is about credibility.
I think Bawumia doesn't
2028 is about winnability.
Bawumia doesn't have.
I don't think it's about Bawumia doesn't have, but I think Ken has it more than any. No, I don't. It's not. We are smart. But it's not really about Bawumia not having it. It's about Ken being taller when it comes to credibility. When it comes to the discipline. Ablekumanov here. Now, before we be 4 years, but I can't say the candidate. We need a strong candidate, not a weak one.
All right. But I say